Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode we've got a second look at the 130 camper. You can see we've been working hard. Let's get into it. Okay, so quite a lot in this episode, but you can see we've obviously been busy stripping it out, and we're now almost at a blank canvas ready to put the new boards on. I'll show you what we came across when we did it and what we've got planned. But also in this episode I've been using some CAD software, VanSpace, to create the design for the interior of the vehicle. I'm going to show you a little bit about that as well, and we're going to talk about what boards and materials we're going to use and the design concept for this 130 Overlander. So we're not only going to be stripping the actual body itself, but we're going to be stripping out the dash to look at how much corrosion we've got on there and whether or not we're going to be doing a new bulkhead. And I'll be showing you some of the little treats we found while we were cleaning out the Land Rover itself. So let's get into it. Right, so we're inside again, and what we're trying to do today is just take the windows out. Well, I say we're going to try, we've already done it though. So the windows have come out. Reese is just trying to get the back one out. But it's interesting because it's giving us an idea of how the construction's made, which is great because we can work out how to redo it. So if I go over to this side here, there was an extrusion all along here that covered up the original side body of the Rapier. And you can see just in here where the little eyelets would have been for the rope, because obviously this body here would have then had a canvas top to it. So the extrusion piece that we got off is here, and this basically bottom lip, if you like, sits over the existing capping, and then they bonded this sandwiched panel, and that sandwich got GRP either side and then obviously ply, marine ply in the middle. And that's an extrusion. So what I'm going to try and do, because it's going to be really hard to remove that wood and laminate from inside that extrusion because it's bonded in. So if I can find an extrusion that's very similar, I think we'll just use new material, and then we'll lay that back on the top. We'll put our own board in place. We've discovered that these L brackets, these steel L brackets, that frame the panels, if you like, and then they're riveted through into the fiberglass outer skin, which I think we're going to use an aluminium skinned sandwiched panel. So to get these off, they've got little welded tacks at the top. I couldn't work out how they bonded this to the main frame. I didn't think, but they actually tacked it just at the bottom and the top in each corner, so we can grind those off, which means that this L bracket will all come off. And again, we can use new L brackets, probably in aluminium, and just slowly rebuild it to a solid shell. And then we've got a fresh template to start putting new windows and things in. So these screws are all coming out. Again, this has been bonded in, so we're just trying to avoid, it's just damage control really, because we don't want to crack a load of glass. This is the back of the 130. Now, again, this is not original Rapier bodywork. This is, but this isn't. This is just a phenolic board, like buffalo board. So it's only riveted from the outside on this L bracket through this GRP layer. And that's all that's holding it in place, to be honest, apart from some bond as well. So we've got two options. We could either hit it with a mallet and just break it out, and then that'll leave us with the remainder of this framework, which we can just grind off the welds and replace it all. And obviously that gives us the opportunity to sort of treat all this framework really nicely. Or we could drill out the rivets from the outside and knock it through, but that's going to take a long time, and those rivets are hard. So now what we're going to do is we've got to remove this framework here. We're going to renew that, clean all these up because these are good and solid, and then refabricate everything. I know we've talked a little bit about the history of this vehicle, and we're still waiting for Foley's to come back to us with a little bit of detail of its history, but as we go along in the build, there's more and more clues to what I think the history of this vehicle is. And I'm going to share one of those with you, which was a really exciting moment when we were clearing out the back of the Land Rover. So obviously it was full of seats, full of clutter. And one of the things we discovered when we cleared it out was this cork. Now, it looks fairly inconspicuous, but actually it is quite a special cork. And if I show you up against the camera here, you'll see that it says on the cork, by appointment to Her Majesty the Queen. So this came from Norfolk, just 5 miles from Sandringham Estate, and we've got a royal cork. Now, we did a bit of research on the company that makes the spirits for this cork, and let me show you what we found. Now, that is one expensive bottle of scotch. So we're going to try and use this somewhere in the vehicle, whether it's a key ring, I don't know quite yet, but we're going to use it, and it's a bit of providence that we can sort of hopefully establish the actual original owner of this vehicle. And if it is who I think it is, then that would be amazing. That would be really exceptional to know that we've got a vehicle that's had a history like that. And this is just one of the clues that we're going on. So I'm hoping soon we'll hear from Foley's, we'll get a little bit more information, I'll do a bit more research, and maybe in the next episode or the next episode after that, we can confirm exactly the history of this vehicle. So before we strip the whole dash, I just wanted to show you a little product that one of the viewers has sent through, that they actually sell these online, and I'll put the link in the description below, and I'll put it on the screen now. But if you ever got confused, which I'll be honest, from 20 years driving, I still sometimes don't know which one of these knobs does up and down for air and one does heat. I mean, this little product he's come out with just solves that problem completely. So it is a coloured knob, look, that goes on the inside here. You just replace your little lever here, put it in position and screw it on. Look at that. So they're 3D printed, and from now on you're never gonna be in doubt which one is for your hot and cold and which one is for your blower. So I think that's a really nice touch. I've actually asked him to do one for me in black and red. There we go. You know exactly which one to touch when you want to go hot and when you want to go cold. Nice little addition there. Like I say, I'll put the link in the description below, and you can decide whether it might be something you want to get for your truck. So we will start with the binnacle, because that's hanging off as it is. Right, that is most of the dash out. So I'm going to leave the window wiper regulator in. I'm going to try and strip back some of these wires. Now really, the carpet's got to come out as well, so you can see the full extent of our problems. It's a very early type of soundproofing. Found something interesting. So that cable that comes through is on the speedo cable. Look, it's got an extension that goes in, so I think that might have been a tachometer. So we can split that, and actually it means we probably haven't got to replace the speedo cable, look, because this one's all good. Let's cut it, because it goes all the way down here and it connected to a junction box that I've removed already. Yep. That's a nice thing to get rid of. Well, this is some of the excess wiring we had inside. I mean, the majority of it is feeding all the lights and speakers and everything else in the back, which we've stripped out. But there's obviously, as I said before, we've got tachometer wires. It's crazy. Most of these have been cut, but they haven't been removed, which, you know, is just lazy. But anyway, they're all out now, and in here I've started to isolate some of the groups of wires. So I've got everything sort of isolated out of the way. I'm just going through these now as well, and I just think it's a nice therapeutic thing to do, just to untangle all the wires, get them marked up so you know where everything is. You can see I've actually got all my wire loom nicely wrapped up, so it's safer, it's more contained, and I know what everything is. It's out of the way, and that's giving us a chance to look at all this corrosion. Now, I really am quite horrified, so I don't know. I know everybody watching this is going to say, just put a bulkhead on it, but you know, you're talking a £2,500 investment in the build. Can it be done with repairs? So I haven't made a decision yet, but we are going to look and see what would be involved in doing the repairs, and if it was actually worth it, if it would be a better idea just to do the bulkhead. But I think we all know what needs to be done. Anyway, I'm just going to strip this from here. So we've got two 10mm, there's a 13 underneath, and then we're going to get the doors off as well, because I want to see what the bulkhead's like on the A-pillars. I've tried to drill off the fronts and just tap them into the bulkhead a little bit. There we go. And then we can fish them out. But I wanted to see what condition it was in. So if we take a look at the A-pillar, you'll see, unlike some of ours, this piece here is in really solid condition. Now we've got some blistering at the front here, but don't think it's as bad as it looks. So we've got a little pinhole in there, which is repairable. I think what we've got to do is explore our options, see exactly how far the corrosion goes and what repair panels are available, to see if it's worth doing, because we've got basically the whole top of the bulkhead can be a repair panel. These are fine. That's a patch. We do a whole footwell repair panel. We even do them, I think, in stainless. So that could be a repair, because it's just up to this part here, which if we unbolt these, grind it back, we can do a really nice repair in there, and that would sort out the floor as well, because all of this is actually good. Look how solid it is in here. There's no problems. So it's a tricky one. I'm going to do a little bit more exposing, and then we'll have another look at it. She's looking pretty naked now. So the doors are off, both on the cab and on the sides. And we've got all the framework out, all the rotten framework. That's all come out now. I've buzzed it back with a flap disc, and I've put some corrosion rust converter on there. Excuse me. Now I've taken the doors off because I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them. They weigh a ton. They've got a metal steel frame, box frame around them. You can just see there, look. They've got a box frame, which I don't think nowadays, if we can get the right material that's strong enough, we should be able to just have a standard door with some decent hinges and a decent latch, and I think that will probably close just as well and be just as secure. So we'll leave them there for now. They're good for a template for the size. I think tomorrow I'm going to get the step off because that's got to be all changed and that's ugly. And we should have some new sample boards coming through so we can choose and think about how we're going to put the composite boards on the back and sort of start boxing it out again. So really looking forward to that. And I think over the next couple of weeks it's really going to start to come together. Now the bulkhead we've talked about, and I haven't made a decision on that. We've looked at some options, but I'm going to put some door bottoms on there just so it looks like a vehicle, and then we get it boxed up and you'll kind of get an idea of where we're going. So to give you guys an idea of exactly the design that we've chosen for this camper, I've been working with VanSpace, which is like a CAD downloadable program you can put on your computer. You pay £25 or so for 3 months. That gives you plenty of time to come up with the design. So here you can see I've created a standard box in exactly the same size, and you can use all the assets they've got in the program to drop and drag what you want. So we've got a rock and roll bed, we've got our slide out kitchen unit, we've got a fridge, we've got our windows, we've got our doors, and we've got the pop top tent. So if you're thinking how we're going to get that to work in the design, now we've looked at getting some custom pop tops made for the vehicle. It's really expensive and it's quite hard to get because it's so flat. So I'm going to be using this Alp Kit pop top tent. It's fairly inexpensive. I can get it for about £1,500, and I'm going to mount it and bond it permanently onto the roof of the vehicle. And with that in place, we will then cut a big hole in the bottom, just like you have in the old school camper vans, like the VWs and such, and we will just use boards to board it out if you want to sleep inside it. That gives us 4 berth. But the best thing about it is, look, it just pops up really easily, and then with it up and the floor removed, you can stand up inside that space. So it gives you a really nice space with loads of headroom, loads of air, and it should just be a nice place to be. And then when you want to use it for additional sleeping, you can. So here I'm just showing you the idea of the pull-out kitchen. So they're going to have a pull-out kitchen at the front of the living space, but this kitchen is brilliant. It's from ARB, it's a slide-out kitchen, it's completely self-supporting, and it means that we can put it in the vehicle and do all our cooking outside, because I don't want to do any cooking in the vehicle if I can help it. I might just have a stove in there. So you just simply pull the kitchen out when you want to use it. It'll be under an awning that's on the side of the vehicle, and then we've also got above that, look, we've got a fridge, which is an ARB fridge on a drawer slider, so you can actually pull that little fridge out, and it's in the vehicle all the time. It's fixed down and it's always secure, which is really important. But I like the idea of having the kitchen space outside the vehicle. I don't want all the smells of cooking and everything in the vehicle if I can help it, and certainly want to reduce that, you know, if we can. So I think this is a really good solution. Now we're going to have a power bank in there as well, so we're going to use a power bank which is charged off the solar panels that we're going to be installing as well, so all the power will be isolated and easy to fit, and it'll run off the mains vehicle as well to charge, as well as the solar panels. Now you can see we've got original Land Rover windows in there as well, which is something I wanted to do just to make it all Land Rover feeling. Aesthetically, it's going to look really nice, and they are sliding windows, so it makes perfect sense. So I think that just gives you a little idea. Now we'll come back to this idea in the future. Once we've got the boxed out vehicle, we'll come back to it and we'll explore a little bit more in detail about the design, but that gives you an idea of where we're going. So let me know what you think. Well folks, I think you can agree we've got a lot done in this episode. So we've been working on it for about a week now, and literally I'm posting this tomorrow. So everything you see that we've done here, we've done this week, and I'm really pleased. So a few things that we're going to be doing over the next week that you'll see in the next episode are actually hopefully receiving the boards to actually panel out the box section. We're going to be doing a little bit more work on the wiring and just getting a feel for some other accessories that we're going to be putting on the vehicle. I'm also going to be doing some templates for the wheel arch boxes and also for the side doors, getting an idea of where we're going to be going with that. And I'm going to show you some of the new products, the Land Rover products, that we're going to be fitting into this build. So for now, thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.